Hello and welcome to the show. So the Lancia Delta went in this rally car build series and set an absolutely ludicrously fast time. So today we are going to take another rallying legend, the Audi Quattro, and see if we might possibly be able to challenge that Lancia. I don't know. I think it might be difficult. I think it's going to be difficult for anything to get near the Quattro. However, not the Quattro, sorry, the Lancia. However, we're going to give it a try with our Quattro. We do start off with a little bit higher PI in this vehicle, up in B class, although we do have... I thought we had the option to have a... I guess it's not a wide body kit, is it? The rally cars, their pre-built stuff is kind of a combination of parts that come from here, rather than like an actual specified wide body kit. Okay, that's fine. I remember what's going on. We will then start off with some snow tyres. Of course, can jump our PI up massively. We are going to have some big tyres, though, on the car. 275s at the front, probably 275s at the rear as well. Indeed, we do. There's some decent-sized tyres. They're going to give us a lot of turning, hopefully, to the corners. Equally, hopefully not too much oversteer. We will probably have a crazy wing. I'm hoping we can get the full, no, we can't quite have the full crazy, like, Pikes Peak wing. I guess that's only on the sort of special, specific Group B rally version. What can we have going on? Okay, so we can have, apparently slightly heavier, but it increases the PI by 1. I don't know why I'd want that. On there, I guess it's reducing drag. We do want mud flaps, and bonnet we can... yes, we can have the massively lightening bonnet latches. Yes. Right, okay. It's kind of looking the part. We will want brakes. We will also want off-road suspension. Now, what we do about other bits and pieces is the conundrum here. Probably going to want a roll cage in this. Do we go weight reduction? I don't think we want to go full weight reduction. Maybe we'll start sticking on power and we'll see how much power we get in the car. Because we are going to be wanting a decent amount of horsepower. And I'm hoping that we can get a decent amount of horsepower out of our Quattro here. 368 and still lots of PI to play around with. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be putting out a decent amount of horsepower, which is always nice to have a car putting out a decent amount of horsepower in this series. Yeah, if we can get 500 horsepower in it and maybe get it, there we go, 505, maybe get it a little bit lighter. Now, while I tend not to worry too much about... I mean, it's not a massively heavy car to begin with. Typically to be 1 PI too much. I do still, you do still want the car to be lighter for handling. When it comes to the rear-wheel drive and front-wheel drive cars, sometimes having a bit more weight to help with traction can be useful. But yeah, with the all-wheel drive cars, it's a balancing act between do you go for crazy amounts of power or do you go for lighting it, and the cars will get their speed in a very different way. I am curious to see. What will the standard gearbox do? I don't quite know what this car... 177 miles an hour, that'll be more than fine. We're not going to buzz a limiter, and we can't gain some PI for changing the gearbox to the street gearbox. Occasionally you can with the odd car. I think we're just going to kind of shove in as much power as we can in this. Unfortunately, yeah, it is going to be a bit heavier. Perhaps not quite have the same power that we got from the Delta. Do we go? We kind of undo the work that we did with the weight reduction, but it will give us a nice power gain. 15 horsepower and 11 torque. I tend not to like particularly going for intercooler. Everything else, though, is going to be just the wrong amount of PI, isn't it? Suspect. Yeah, everything is just the perfectly wrong amount of PI, so bugger it. Shall we go with an intercooler? Then we will try and be sneaky and see... Oh, look at that. And then that's almost undone a lot of the weight. Not quite, but I'll take it. And then we'll have a... Okay, we can't quite be that sneaky. Maybe what we'll do is, if rather than going for the full stage of flywheel, if we go for the one below it there, and then we'll go for perhaps a driveline, sneak that on. Come on, PI system. Yeah, okay, then we can sneak a driveline on as well. I think overall, maybe slightly light, like half a pound lighter going for that combination, but I'll take it. Right, the Quattro is, I think, pretty ready to go here. 542 horsepower, and it's got some pretty big tyres to boot, so I'm thinking, while it might not quite have the power-to-weight ratio of the Lancia, it will have bigger tyres, and I'm hoping we'll be better through the corner, so maybe we can just challenge that Delta. To test out the Audi, we have headed out to the Mountain Peak Scramble Circuit, where I am going to get 5 laps with the car, and target to beat is a 122.6 set by the Delta. If we can't quite go quicker than that, it's 125.2 from the Focus Rallycross that was our previous benchmark. Yeah, quite the difference going on. I do think this might stand a chance of certainly going quicker than the Focus. We will have a lot, I hope, of corner grip going on. The Delta wasn't the easiest of cars through the corner. It was pretty good, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't the easiest of cars through these turns. So maybe we can make up some of our lap time, although we aren't going to have the crazy acceleration. We didn't even notice the bump through Rovia there. There's not even a slightest hint that the Quattro might go up on its side. Oh, it's very quick through McRae's if we can get it right, although I do run a little bit too deep as we enter the off-piste tweet. That's a big clatter and a bounce on our way through this section. However, a little bit of sliding on the way out. How do we do? Well, we can keep it absolutely flat out through that section, which is always nice. Get the car turned through there now. As we enter the Kimmies, the ice has been a little bit of a bugger. Generally jumping to the inside there has worked, although has put me a little bit on the wide side through the next corner. A little bit of a scruffy opening lap. It's not quite got the almost immediateness, I'm not sure if that's quite the right term, that the Delta had. But again, I'm not perhaps too surprised. Kind of finding ourselves wanting to sit a little bit in between second and third gears. A 28.5 on its opening lap. It wasn't an amazing opening lap. Ooh, we don't have the brakes. That is one thing that's one thing that we don't have in terms of yeah. That was. I guess we were going relatively quick into the first corner. I was being a little bit brave, but we've got to try and make up time somewhere around the lap, and that's not going to be a place that I can make up huge amounts here. Oh, we're kind of sitting in between third and fourth very horribly around that section. It is again a mid 90 miles an hour held. Now do we want second? I'm not even sure if we want second through there particularly. Yeah, okay, so our gear ratios are a little bit on the wonky, I'm going to be honest, around here. Now, we've got to get this line all completely and utterly wrong through there. We're not in a particularly good place on the way in. Run across that inside line. We're going to throw the car a little bit sideways on the exit of the Kimmies. Third gear around here will work. Yeah, relatively speaking. I'm not sure we quite got the... It's trying to get the car far enough across to the left before you turn into Diabolica. That's the tricky bit, while still maintaining plenty of speed on the exit of the Kimmy. So our first flying lap is going to be a 25.3. So I'm thinking we can definitely get the Focus around here, which is going to be a long. I say a long way. Everything's a long way off that Lancia at the moment. That time we were a little bit too keen to get on the race. Very fine margins. I think one of the difficulties with that first corner is the braking zone. Right where you want to get on the brakes with most cars is right where you hit a bump, and if you brake before the bump, you end up braking where you end up slowing down a bit too much, a bit too early for the corner. If you brake after the bump, you're going to miss it and hit the wall. Well, that is very good through McRae's, 95 miles an hour, though we can't quite pick the speed up the other side as well as you might ideally like. It's all a little bit, I don't know, it doesn't seem that comfortable across the cross-country section. It does not seem as happy, surprisingly, for a proper rally car. Does not seem as happy over that section. I'm running a little too... Again, could definitely do with being a little neater, a little closer to the inside. We're going to have a big slide from the Quattro. It's certainly not a bad car. Don't get me wrong, it's certainly not a bad car, although the handling is not quite what I had hoped from it. It doesn't quite have the amazing turning that I say partly expected, would have liked to have seen from the Quattro. We don't have that, and then we do still have some oversteer going on as well, which is less than ideal. We pushed it quite late under brakes. Now we can go for a very, very late apex, and that will help us out. We'll straighten up the run into the second corner, and we will manage to avoid the ice. Now as we find our way up past Rovia, try and keep it flat out through these next corners. We're going to have a little lift on the weighings, otherwise we're going to end up out of position. I do wonder if turbo lag is playing a part in this. Come to think of it, that might not be helping this car in places. Does have the gear ratios shouldn't be too bad, but I think that might. I mean, we have got a pretty much maxed out standard Quattro engine going on in here, so it has got very, very big turbos and so on. I think that might be what's not helping in some places. We didn't have the issue with the Lancia. It was, I believe, naturally aspirated V8 I was running in that one. We didn't have turbo lag as a problem. This does seem to struggle. Yeah, it's just not quite, because we don't really want it to be in second around that final corner, but we have it in third. It struggles a little bit to get going initially out of the turn, and we are on to our final lap. I thought that lap might have been a little bit faster for the Quattro. It was not. We're still at a 25.3. We're oh so close to going quicker than the Focus. Can I do anything about it on this run? Come on, Audi. We can find, I don't quite know where we're going to find it, but we can find some time around this. I think the off-piste twist is where we are losing it, in all honesty. That's certainly where it feels like it is struggling the most. Good exit speed down there, 98 miles an hour. It does not feel massively comfortable climbing up through this section. It's a little bit better through the rough stuff that time around. We didn't get bounced about quite as much, get turned in for the next quarter. Haven't troubled the Polestar rock at all today, which is always nice when you don't nearly splatter your car against the scenery. That's generally the sign of a good day. We can run through these fast corners now. Get ready to chuck the vehicle into Diabolica. We throw it in with a lot of speed and not quite been able to get the car turned. I think we have carried more speed through the corner, though. That corner we ended up running towards the wall at as we head around Saturite for the final time. Is a little bit of oversteer to have a tad bit of correction and a minor bit of a scare. We will go faster with the Quattro into the 24s, with the Audi a 24.9 from the car. It's, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, going quicker than the Focus is a very, very good showing. The Focus has got 50 more PI points than Quattro, almost 50 more than the Quattro, and this is, you know, a fair bit quicker than the other cars that have gone. But compared to the Lancia, I think everything, let's face it, is going to struggle compared to that Delta. I don't think the turbos helped. While its power-to-weight ratio isn't blistering, it's actually not too bad, but I don't think perhaps the turbo lag helped on a few occasions around this lap where, yeah, there's just not quite any right gear to find yourself in with some of the interesting terrain that the car has to deal with. There is plenty of grip, although not quite as much as I was expecting, either from the front end or from the back end. We don't have a huge amount of rear grip. Perhaps, you know, having tyres of equal sizes, you might expect the balance to be a little bit more towards the oversteery and so on, but the front end doesn't actually get turned in amazingly well. Again, it's okay, but it's not quite as good as I was expecting from the Quattro. Still, going second is not bad. Going second in this series is not bad at all. It will go 0.3 of a second faster than the Focus Rallycross car. It'll go, you know, half a second quicker than the GMC Cyclone and the Bentley SUV. So, still a pretty good showing from our Quattro, although it is some 2 and a bit seconds down on the Lancia. That Delta is going to be a mighty task to overcome. However, that is going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. and until next time, goodbye.